Hello class, this is your teacher Mr. McDougall with your next project tutorial. Today we will be talking about your last set of shots for your photography portfolio, which is going to be monochrome photography, aka black and white. Monochrome actually just means one color, so in advanced photography it doesn't necessarily mean it's black and white, but as you're getting started, that's the usual translation is it just means that black and white photos, aka monochrome. So same as what we've been doing before. Let me just show you a couple new things real quick, and then I'll let you start taking your pictures. So it's the same thing we've been doing this entire time. You're going to take your cameras, take at least 10 unique photos with the camera for this, but you're only going to choose your top 5. You're going to export your top 5 from Lightroom and add those to the slideshow right here. So the thing about black and white is there's no particular theme when it comes to this one. Black and white can be a little bit of anything. You're trying to tell a story with a photo. So it could be landscape, it could be portrait, it could be product. Try a little bit of everything as you're taking your monochrome shots. Don't just take all landscape shots or all portrait or all product. Take a little bit of everything that we've been practicing these last 3 lessons. So mix it up a little bit so you have a little bit of variety in your shots. And this again will take some time. It may not be obvious. This is where you really get to look around and see things that normal people don't actually get to see. And that's kind of the superpower I'm trying to teach you as a photographer is you get enhanced vision. Now you get to walk around and see things that other people don't. There's probably things you walk by 100 times a day that you've never noticed before until you stop and try to take a picture of it and you go, wow, that's actually really interesting and I can make it look cool. Like this really cool tree or someone thinking or another cool object that no one's ever noticed before. So this is where you really get to have fun and experiment. Use everything we've talked about. Use the rules of composition, the rule of thirds, leading lines, all that fun stuff to really tell a story with a picture. So again, monochrome doesn't mean something specific. It's a little bit of everything. Take pictures of things that inspire you, and we're just going to make them black and white. So let me just quickly tell you how to make them black and white. You're not going to take the photos in black and white. You're going to take the photos like you normally have been on camera. We're just going to make them black and white in Lightroom. So when you import your photos into Lightroom like you've been doing this whole time, it's actually very simple. Once you have your shot in Lightroom or your top 5 photos, over here on the basic editing tab, there's actually a B&W icon right here, which means black and white. So if you click that, it makes your image black and white. And that's not the only thing you need to do. Don't just click that and assume that you're done. You can still make tweaks on the overall exposure. In fact, it's actually a little easier to make these exposure tweaks on black and white because we don't have to worry about colors getting distorted. So you can still mess with the overall exposure. And I want you to really play around with these 4 sliders in particular. Where the highlights are the bright areas. See how the brighter areas get brighter and darker without affecting the shadows. Same thing with the shadows. I can lift the shadows a little bit and really add that contrast to make this subject stand out. So really play with these sliders. Again, make sure it's not too overexposed or too underexposed, but you can still play with the sliders even once you've turned it black and white. So that's a black and white photo. So again, for each of your top 5 photos, just check this little box right here. This turns the black and white on and off. You see, without the black and white, I kind of made it a little too colorful and it's not natural, but with the black and white, you can't really tell. It's a nice little effect you can add to hide that and have more fun with your settings. Lastly, as we've always been doing, quick reminder, once you post your photo, give it a fun title. Again, the title's up to you. You're just coming up with a clever title for your shot, whatever you want to call it. And then tell me the aperture, ISO, and shutter, all 3 of the exposure settings. You can do the exposure settings from Bridge, like I mentioned before, but as a quick reminder, you can also find them in Lightroom Classic. If you come over here to this side of the photo, it says right here, this particular photo, the ISO is 1000. Ignore that one, that's the focal length, and you just need these other 2 right here. So this one, and this one. This is the focal length. This one's not important for right now. ISO is 1000. Aperture is f8. Shutter speed is 1/250th of a second. So there's another way you can find your exposure settings right here if you don't want to go to Adobe Bridge. Okay? So take your shots, have fun, and then we'll talk about putting them on your portfolio.